People that have moved into a house/apartment. What's the most interesting thing you found from the previous occupants? When I was 8, we rented a Victorian house for a while and found a love letter from 1912 in the banister of the stairs. I'm the first occupant in my current apartment, but I did find the lid of a paint bucket with a message on it on top of a wardrobe reading "Hope you like your new apartment / the painter." I know a lot of builders/laborers will leave messages or junk in newly built houses and apartments. Can be very wholesome. Mine left the auxiliary shower head pointed directly out, so when I turned the shower on for the first time I got completely soaked. Found out that there's a spot where you can get under the cabinets in the kitchen. My cat hid there a lot the first couple of days, and after that I noticed a mysterious increase in dusty cat toys. Eventually he dragged all of the previous tenants' cat's toys out from under there. I bet your cat felt like he hit the mother lode. Yeah right, love to read an answer from the cat. Pretty sure it would go something like this. KKKKKJJHHVGJJGFCDDDFDDDCCDXCCC. BBVVHBBHBV. Yeah, every time my cat sits or stands on the keyboard he doesn't waste time with letters. He's all about doing things to my computer using shortcuts I don't know about, all of them, and then watching me try to figure out how to undo it. Mini vials of very tiny fish in the backyard. I live near a college, so I'm hoping it was some biology project leftovers, and not anything crazier. It was weird though, they were completely intact, even though being in some sort of liquid, half buried in the dirt for an obviously long time, or fish funeral. I can imagine a kid insisting they need to be buried in water like they lived. Crammed under a built-in drawer below a bedroom closet was a police report from the late 60s delineating a missing person/kidnapping case involving the prior, now deceased owner who at the time was teenager. It also mentions my next door neighbor who was a person of interest in the case. Haven't talked to him about it, and not sure I want to bring it up. Way back on January 1st, 1976, my family moved into an apartment. I was 10 years old at the time. We had just come to Canada in June. While we were cleaning my room before painting it, we took off the radiator cover to clean the inside. Under the radiator cover was a complete, handmade game of Monopoly. I didn't really know English at the time, and didn't know what Monopoly was. Later I found out that the two boys living in that room had been a couple of years older than me. Their parents had been very strict old world traditional, and had refused to let them buy a Monopoly game, so they had handcrafted their own, and kept it hidden in the radiator. Pennies. Me and my homies found like $6 worth of pennies and nickels under the carpets from 1980 and before. At my old place there was one spot in the yard that was covered in change. Literally paved with money. It was like someone dumped buckets of change on this one spot and spread it around. My dad and I raked up what we could and ended up with $50, and we didn't even get close to all of it. I have been wondering for years why someone would do that, and I still have no clue. Some kid decided to bury their savings, maybe hiding them from a sibling, forgot where they buried them, family moved out. Kid stares back on house, tears rolling bitterly down their cheeks, as your family moves in, and his drives away. They know they will never see that $50 again. I've moved a lot, and seen a lot of houses and apartments, and every single one had loose change in it somewhere. As a kid, my parents moved into a former Minnesota Vikings lineman's house, and he left a PS1 with a bunch of games. Great dude, emo. That's MVP type vibes right there. I renovated the basement, and tore down the drop ceiling. An envelope fell out in the process. I was hoping for money, but I got something better. In the envelope was a bunch of evidence collected by the ex-husband that she was cheating on him. Credit card receipts, hotel receipts, lewd emails, and dick pics. It was gross, but awesome at the same time. I hope he used the info in the divorce. I hope so too. I'm not sure why he left it behind. Hopefully they were copies. I checked the obituaries just in case, but his name didn't come up. My husband and I found a Crown Royal bag in the rafters of the basement that previous tenants had left behind. As soon as I saw it, I yelled, "Open it, open it. It's money or drugs." It was not money or drugs, it was a purple dildo and some lube. Why are so many dildos purple? I still haven't decided on my undergraduate thesis topic. This might be it. Can finally get my theology degree. Why is our perception of God purple? A beta analysis of ecclesiastical and patriarchal stylistic influences on the modern dildo. A box hidden in a loose board with heroin and needles. Oh crap, that's whack. No, that's smack. Ended up dropping it off at a police station, and they had the audacity to try and accuse me that it was mine. The yellow-orange goo dripping from our walls as the cigarette tar seeps out when the humidity gets too high while I shower. After 3 full washes, there's little gift left. We found a box of old notes from middle school girls flirting with the guy. Also found a couple yearbooks and other random pictures. Dude was quite the player in middle school. My uncle bought a house from people whose mother had passed away. They left a good amount of stuff in the house, mostly worthless. Christmas decorations, cutlery, etc. In the back of one closet we found a trash bag full of lottery scratch-offs. We started going through them, and they were all winners. Turned out to be about 12k in winning tickets. We took a few to the convenience store to check them, and they were all past the cash by date AMD. The state lottery would no longer pay them out. A Saturday Night Live script with handwritten notes in it. This was in a Brooklyn apartment at the base of a shelf above the closet. It appeared to be pretty old. I looked up the name of the writer on the script, and he was active at SNL about 10 years ago. Occasionally I'd get mail with the same name on it. I like how I read 10 years ago, and I imagine late 80s/early 90s instead of 2010. 10 years ago will always be 1990 as far as I'm concerned. Moved into an old apartment in a college town. It had previously been a fraternity or sorority house all through the 80s. I was at an all-Greek party alumni and met an older guy who found out I lived in his old frat house. He immediately asked if we ever partied in the basement. I told him we didn't have basement access from inside, so no. He then had me follow him back to my house and showed me a false wall next to the bathroom that led down into the basement. Not gonna lie, it kinda freaked me out. The basement door outside had a broken lock, so anyone could get down there. The false wall was hard to open from the house side, but really easy to push open from the basement. Anybody could have gone down there and come up into my apartment. This is like Parasite, but with frat boys. Like I was saying, it was a fraternity event, so everyone there was Greek. And I'd been chatting with this guy and other alumni for a while, so he wasn't like a random person off the street. And my apartment was directly behind the house we were all partying at. It's not like I invited a stranger off the street into my home. And in the end he actually made you safer by revealing that passageway, so you could secure it. Good dude. My brother found a mysterious wrapped bundle in the drop ceiling of his house, and waited for me to be there to open it. We thought it might be drugs, or money or something illegal, so I wore gloves when I unwrapped it. Turns out gloves were a great idea. It was a double penetration dildo, wrapped in about 4 plastic shopping bags. Edit. To clarify, it wasn't a double-sided dildo. It was meant for one person to use it. So did you guys clap your asses together like real brothers? When you go on the balcony for our apartment there's a kid's chalk drawing, or paint. It doesn't wash off, but it looks like chalk, of a sad face that says I'm sad under it, which I've always been unnerved by. Edit. Apparently etched with a rock. Thanks for all of you who had rebellious use for clarifying, haha. 110% haunted. Back in the day I rented the upstairs of an old brick house in the small town I grew up in. It was the first brick building to be built and served as a liquor store around the time of Prohibition in Canada on the border of the US. In the attic I found some old liquor bottles in the rafters. The house down the street was owned by Al Capone. It has secret passageways in the walls and even a jail cell in the basement. My father's childhood home had a hidden cellar under the living room. And some of his neighbors had tunnels in their basements that had been blocked up. I'm kinda pisses my house was built in 2011 now. Damn, that's so cool. Did you save the bottles? Despite being super cool I left them for the next person to find. You're nicer than I am. I totally would have taken them to use for decoration around my house. My wife and I bought a house almost a year ago, and we did multiple inspections and walkthroughs with the realtor and home inspectors and nobody noticed the big bang in the garage until the day we were moving stuff in. I still have it in there. I spray painted it and have a fake flower in it, lol. Hahaha, that's hilarious. I'm glad you kept it and made it look pretty. Yay. I don't know how we all missed it as many times as we went into the garage. There was some other stuff in there too, but that's the best by far. Apparently she was a sweet little old lady that lived alone and loved to do some barn rips. Not my own story, but my SO was helping a mutual friend move into her new house. In the attic, they find a locked chest and they give up looking for the key. A few months later, my friend found a key and immediately tried to open the chest. To her delight, it worked. Inside was a fragile collection of newspapers, all from WWII. I've seen some of the clippings, and it's absolutely surreal. That is pretty freaking cool. Finding something like that is a real treasure, because it truly puts that horrific event into perspective, right? We distance ourselves from the horrors of the past because we learn though education is important, we have to also understand that we simply cannot bury this. It's so recent. I speak with veterans/survivors from WWII daily.